10 centuries ago, before the age of obedience, dogs roamed freely until the cat-loving Kobayashi dynasty declared war against the four-legged beasts. On the eve of total canine annihilation, a child warrior betrayed his own species, pledging his life to the dogs. At the end of the bloody dog wars, the vanquished mongrels became powerless house pets, although they survived and multiplied. The same could not be said for the Kobayashis, who never forgave their conquered foe. The Japanese municipality, 20 years in the future, Mayor Kenji Kobayashi announces that canine overpopulation has reached epidemic proportions. An outbreak of snout fever spreads through the city, and blizzards of infected fleas, worms, ticks, and lice menace the citizens. Dog flu threatens to cross the species threshold. The mayor issues emergency orders to banish all the dogs in a massive quarantine, transforming the trash island into the Isle of Dogs. Professor Watanabe steps forward to object to this call, claiming that it is cruel and unscientific. For thousands of years these animals have loved, served, and protected humans. How could anyone treat this loyal species in such a heartless way? He is extremely close to developing a vaccine, and asks them to wait just 6 more months before executing this plan. People are skeptical his solution would work, and question how many would be gone in the 6 months of waiting. The mayor calls for an immediate approval of his proposal, and offers up his own dog, Spots, to be the first banished from the city. 6 months later, dogs that once belonged to households now gather together in ravenous packs, all tested positive for dog flu. As they search for scraps to live on, they suffer from symptoms including dizziness, weight loss, insomnia, narcolepsy, sneezing, and extremely aggressive behavior. The population on the Isle of Dogs grows sadder, angrier, and more desperate. Before 2 different packs battle for the contents of a trash bag, Rex suggests they open it first to see if it's even worth it. Although the contents are disgusting, they decide it's worth it. After the fight, Rex says he can't stomach the trash anymore. He says he used to sleep on a wool bed next to a space heater. King says he starred in 22 consecutive Doggy Chop commercials. Boss was the lead mascot for an undefeated high school baseball team. Duke has only ever wanted a balanced diet, regular grooming, and a yearly checkup. Rex says he's going to give up right now. Duke says his brother has gone to heaven. Rex wishes to reunite with his master, and Chief chimes in to say they make him sick. He says if you're hungry, get something and eat it. If you're sick, take a long nap, and stop talking like a bunch of housebroken pets. Chief is the only stray out of the group. Nutmeg appears, and they wonder how she keeps her fur so clean. Rumor is she mated with Felix, but they don't have time to discuss it before they witness a plane crash. The pack talks about whether or not they should eat him. They check him out, and he sits up to ask about his dog, Spots. No one knows him, and the pilot pulls out some metal object out of his head. Atari is the son of the mayor, who hijacked a plane to get to the Isle of Dogs. The dogs show him where Spot's skeleton remains, because they couldn't figure out how to open the cage. The boy is distraught. 3 years ago, he was the sole survivor of a bullet train collision. When he awoke from his coma, he learned of his parents passing, and the intention of his distant uncle, Mayor Kobayashi, to adopt him. He would be nursed back to health and then schooled in the mayoral residence, guarded 24/7 by Spots and others. Even though Spots and Atari are told that Spots isn't a pet, but a guard, they grow closer by the minute. They're given translation headsets so that they can communicate with each other. Seeing his dog's bones makes Atari cry. He opens the cage with the key and walks away. Professor Watanabe runs multiple tests on the vaccine he's created and determines it works to treat all problems. He celebrates with his team. Atari rebuilds his plane, and the black box alerts military radar to his location. Rex notices Boss's new dog tag from where Spots supposedly passed away, but it doesn't say Spots. He stops Atari from leaving by yelling that Spots could still be alive somewhere else. Professor Watanabe presents the cure to the mayor, who takes a phone call before reacting. Despite the successful serum, he says that all dogs will remain on the Isle of Dogs. The professor takes a look at top-secret documents, revealing the mayor's military attack dogs. Atari is nearly rescued from the island, although it seems more like an attempted kidnapping. The dogs decide to intervene, even though they could be risking their lives. By working together, they manage to free the little pilot and take down the military devices. The news reports that Atari has been taken hostage by a group of dogs, and they will be destroyed. Atari speaks Japanese, so the only word the dogs understand is sitting. Chief refuses to listen or be loyal to a human, so he leaves to get some water. Nutmeg appears and tells him he shouldn't drink that water, because her sister-in-law drank it and her tongue turned black. At first, Chief brings up the rumor he heard about her and Felix, but he manages to start over by telling her his name. He already knows she's Nutmeg, and she confirms Chief's suspicions that she used to be a show dog, although she doesn't think it matters anymore. When he joins her face to face, she notices his injuries from the stainless steel opponent he fought. She asks about the boy and whether he's going to keep helping him or not. He asks why, and she says because he's a 12-year-old boy and dogs love those. He asks if the show dog knows any tricks, so she shows him one before she leaves. Because of the thing stuck in his head, the dogs believe the boy might be a little screwy, but one of them points out that since it became Dog Isle, Atari's the only master that cared enough to come to rescue his pet. He may be the mayor's ward, but he obviously cares about the dogs more than anyone else. Rex proposes they try to help him find his dog. They will leave at dawn, cross their middle fingers, find the tugboat on the dune, see Jupiter and Oracle, and ask them what to do. Chief isn't fond of the plan because he believes the kid will have them all euthanized after he finds out his dog is gone anyway. In class, foreign exchange student Tracy Walker speaks out against the mayor, absolutely certain he is up to something. Although many will believe she's a conspiracy theorist, she shares that she believes municipal dome propaganda has deliberately stoked irrational anti-dog fear and suppressed a medically proven dog flu treatment in order to promote a secret campaign to turn the country against its innocent house pets. The teacher asks if she can prove it, and after some thought, she says she doesn't know. The middle fingers are whatever was left of some failed construction project after a tsunami, a power plant destroyed by an earthquake, and the remains of a deserted industrial estate destroyed by a volcanic blast. As they travel across this zone, they talk about their favorite food. Chief says he doesn't care what he eats, but admits he wasn't always stray eating garbage. The others are shocked to hear this and wait for him to go on. He says he was only captured and taken to the pound 3 times. The first 2 times he escaped within 24 hours, but the third time he was adopted before he could finish his escape tunnel. It was a big family with 5 children. They lived out in the middle of the sticks. There was grass, trees, a swimming pool, and cartoons on TV. 1 week later, one of the boys woke him up at 6:15 in the morning and tried to pet him. He didn't mean anything by it, but Chief bit him so hard. Parents took him to the emergency room after locking Chief in the tool shed. He asked himself why he did it, but he didn't know, besides the fact that he scared him. That night, an old woman, the grandmother maybe, brought him chili to eat. That was his favorite food. Rex asks what happened after that, and Chief says he hitchhiked back to Megasaki after digging his escape tunnel all night. He says he was always meant to be a stray. Jupiter and Oracle find them in the tall grass. The mayor gives a speech about how much the citizens hate dogs, and congratulates each of his team members for the large accomplishments they've made, which include really terrible and cruel things towards dogs that almost certainly ensure their extinction. He proposes they move forward with the next stage of his plan, the Provisional Dog Displacement Camp. Using Atari's DNA found at the scene, mechanical dogs search for him. A conspiracy theorist grabs the black box and plays it for all to hear, so people may rise up against the mayor and his anti-dog propaganda. On the recording, Atari cries Mayday and divulges his plan to save his dog. He says in the event of his passing, he leaves everything to his dog, but if he survives, they can ignore this message. Tracy stands with other protesters in the name of her dog, Nutmeg. Jupiter offers them brandy and Oracle says it may snow tomorrow, not because she can see the future, but because she understands the TV. Atari shows Jupiter a picture of Spots. He recognizes him as Dog Zero. Most of the dogs on Dog Island have domesticated backgrounds, but there is a group of unfortunate souls that have been tested on. Following an act of God, they escape to a harsh and desperate freedom. Rumors about the location of these dogs vary. Jupiter believes Dog Zero may have been taken hostage by these savage dogs. He asks Oracle what she thinks, but she's too distracted by the TV. Jupiter tells them to continue on their journey and have faith in their cause. Duke brings up the rumor that says these aboriginal dogs are cannibals. Sushi is prepared with poison wasabi for Professor Watanabe. The professor's passing makes headlines. His assistant does not respond well to his passing. The dogs are headed toward a highly toxic area full of garbage. Chief and Atari are accidentally separated, and before they can agree on a rendezvous, the other 4 dogs enter a compacting and incineration machine. 1 hour later, Chief and Atari find themselves in the garbage dump. Atari insists he goes down a slide, even though they're in a hurry and he isn't tall enough. Chief repeatedly tells him no, and says he's not his dog, so he won't wait for him if he doesn't keep moving. Even though the others have probably been crushed, he will press on until he finds Spots. Atari goes down the slide, so Chief keeps going. When Atari whistles, Chief returns to him. Chief tells him not to tell him to fetch the stick because he doesn't play fetch. Atari tells him to fetch. Chief finally gives in, but says it's because he feels sorry for him. Atari tells him he's a good boy and gives him a hug. Chief gets the first bath he ever had. He turns out to look a lot like Spots without the pink nose. He graciously accepts the first treat he's ever had, even though it was reserved for Spots. He starts taking pride in guarding Atari, and promises him they'll find his dog, wherever he is, if he's alive. Elsewhere, Tracy Walker speaks in her voice recorder about the injustice towards dogs she knows Mayor Kobayashi and his family are responsible for. She brings up how likely it is that the professor was eliminated, and about how Atari hijacked a plane and flew it to the island all for the sake of his dog. After being interrupted briefly, she's flustered and admits she has a crush on Atari. When Chief discovers the others are alive, he has to explain that he got a bath and played fetch with Atari, because he's turned out to be a great boy. Rex says not to tell him that, because he's the one who told him to be loyal to him in the first place. Before the dogs can jump to safety, they reach the end of the line and the municipal task force is dangerously close to capturing them. Chief notices a dog in the distance. In a flashback, while Spot speaks with another dog, he admits that although he's only supposed to be a guard dog for Atari, he loves him very much, and is sad he won't see him ever again. Before leaving, the dog warns him about the Aboriginal cannibal dogs, but says he'll probably be safer from them than he is, given the cage and all. Despite the lock, the cannibal dogs carry Spots in his cage to the Kobayashi canine testing plant. He asks if they're going to eat him, but the leader says they only did that once, when their leader was in a coma from starvation. They put him out of his misery and allowed themselves to survive a bit longer. The leader says they only brought him there to help him. After he's let out of his cage, Spots meets a female dog, who's apparently been experimented on. Spots races towards Atari, using the headset to tell him he cannot keep him safe if he gets himself into situations like this. The mayor watches as Spots uses his secret issue military teeth to attack the robot dogs and help Atari and Chief escape. The other 4 dogs vote to kick Chief out of the pack and never speak to him again, just before they fall into the water. While in the water, Spots explains that he has new obligations that he never anticipated. He has become the leader of a tribe of outcasts who depend on him for their survival, and he is going to be a father. He asks Atari to relieve him of his guard dog position effective immediately. Chief is furious. He says if they don't drown he'll eliminate Spots, because he has no idea what the little pilot has gone through to rescue him. Spots suddenly tell Chief his exact breed, along with the time and location Chief was born. He says he knows him because he's his older brother by 5 minutes. Chief starts crying as they are sucked underwater and shot in a new direction. The mayor announces the passing of his adopted son, along with his 5 dog abductors. He uses this to suit his agenda of spreading hatred towards dogs. Spots show them around and introduce them to Peppermint, who's a week past her due date. Atari breaks up the rest of the biscuit intended for Spots and gives it to the other dogs. They discuss the likelihood that Kobayashi created the dog flu in a lab. The Black Owl delivers news about the metropolitan dumping grounds. 12 hours earlier, Jupiter tells the owl that the mayor has given the order to execute all the dogs. If the message reaches them in time, they need to find their owners, appeal to the masses, stop the mayor, and save all the dogs. They decide to cross the river that night, and as they prepare, Chief sends a message to Nutmeg via Owl. They build a raft and start crossing the river as Tracy and others gather to mourn the loss of Atari. Spots formally passes duty as protector of Atari to Chief, and he receives the headset to speak with him directly. Tracy Walker of Megasaki Senior High, Daily Manifesto, orders a glass of chocolate milk and meets with Professor Watanabe's former assistant, Yoko. Tracy presents her with a large book of evidence to support her conspiracy theory and asks if she's got it. Yoko says it's too late, not once, but twice, and Tracy has to shake her to get her to snap out of it and act like a scientist. She says the professor never gave up, so why should she? Yoko gives her the last dose of the vaccine that could solve everything. The mayor reveals his plan to euthanize all the dogs and replace them with a new mechanical pet. Tracy and other protesters storm the stage and announce that the whole election is a fraud and they demand a recount. She says Atari is alive, Professor Watanabe was a hero who was eliminated, and the serum he created works. She announces her hate for the mayor and that he's a crook. Tracy is stripped of her school credits and banished from the country, destined to return to Cincinnati, Ohio. The mayor is presented with a red button. Tracy sees Nutmeg on screen, just before Atari and the dogs break down the door. Tracy injects Chief with the serum to cure him of dog flu, and it works. News quickly spreads that Atari is alive, and he takes the stand to address the people. He says he just spent time traveling in the company of the very kind animals the mayor refers to as bad dogs. The cycle of life always hangs in a delicate balance, and who do we want to be? It's about nature, love, friendship, eternity, and a black owl named Atari's lantern. He asks, whatever happened to man's best friend? He says he dedicates this speech to his uncle, who took him in when he himself was a stray dog with nowhere else to go. He asks to extend his membership and offers a check of 1,000 yen to him, as the former ward of the mayoral household. The mayor actually has a change of heart, with flashbacks of all the times people argued in favor of the dogs. He admits he has no honor, and removes the stamp from the Trash Island decree. Major Domo accuses the mayor of breaking his campaign promise, so he tries to push the button for him. A fight breaks out on stage, and as a result, the robot dog, Spots, and Atari all drop from their serious injuries. Major Domo hits the button to activate the poison on the dogs, but something else goes wrong. The poison sprays on the humans instead, while the military dogs turn into simple house pets. It's all thanks to the pro-dog hacker. The dogs on the island escape, and Atari is rushed to the hospital with Tracy and his 5 dogs accompanying him, along with the injured Spots, his mate Peppermint, and their litter of puppies. The surgery on Atari was successful, but the stress of the operation caused his remaining kidney to fail. His uncle steps forward to offer his left kidney to save Atari's life. Due to the events that have occurred, Atari Kobayashi is the new mayor of the city. 1 month later, everything returned to peaceful tranquility. Dog cure serum has cured all the infected dogs. Mayor Atari holds a discussion to establish what the fine for dog abusers will be. Nutmeg works security detail with Chief while her owner, Tracy, stays close to Atari. She asks Chief how he likes his new job, and he admits he did bite someone's hand off already. He asks if Nutmeg has learned any new tricks, and she shows him one. He asks if she's still against bringing puppies into this world, and she tells him she'll think about it and let him know. A statue is built to honor Spots, who survived his injuries with the use of robotic implants.